So you want to master Biblical Greek, but you're not making the progress you might want to. Well, in this video, we're going to look at why that might be the case and what you can do about it. Hi, I'm Daryl Berling, creator of Master New Testament Greek, and I help people like you learn to read the New Testament fluently in the original language. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit subscribe to this channel, and once you've done that, hit the notify bell to be notified when new videos come out. Here's the thing, lots of people want to learn to read the Greek of the New Testament, and yet so very few actually do. Here's what we learn from that. It's not enough just to have this goal, just to have this desire. In addition to a goal or a desire to master Biblical Greek, you need two key things to really be able to master the Greek of the New Testament. And in this video, we're going to talk about what they are. The first one is the habits in your life that are going to allow you to go from where you are all the way to fluency. In other words, you need the habits that are going to allow you to make the progress you need to make. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have a system that underpins those habits that is going to allow you to get all the way to the end. Let's start with the second one, with the systems first of all. So it's no good creating the habits in your life around a system that doesn't work. And a lot of people do this. In fact, seminary will set you up with a system for learning the Greek of the New Testament that won't work. It won't take you all the way to fluency. And I think I've probably talked about this a few times before, but this is the occurrence-based system. So seminary will have you learn vocabulary down to 50 occurrences in the New Testament. So that is all the words that occur 50 times or more in the Greek New Testament. They'll have you learn those words. Now that's a great way to learn to get the basics down of New Testament Greek. But if you continue to learn vocabulary that way, you're going to really struggle. The reason for this is that with every goal, with every milestone you make on the occurrence track, the difficulty increases. So to learn all of the words that occur as little as 50 times or more, there's about 300 words. To learn the words that occur between 50 and 20 times, that's another 330 words. But then to learn the words that occur between 10 and 20 times is 487 words, nearly 500 words. But then between 5 and 9 times is over 700 words, and the numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger. In other words, each goal is getting harder and harder to achieve, and you're getting fewer and fewer wins. And the thing that's really important about this is that even if you get to 10 occurrences in the Greek New Testament, you still can't read the Greek New Testament. There's still very few texts that you can just pick up in your Greek text and just read them fluently, because there's going to be hapax legomena. There's going to be words in there that occur 3, 4, 5, 7 times that you've never seen before. Some of those you can guess them. Some of those are going to be proper nouns, but there's going to be a lot you're going to have to go back and look those up. Now, Reader's editions will help with this, but ultimately the goal here of mastery is not to be dependent on a reader's edition, but just to know the language naturally, right? And so this is the problem with the occurrence-based system. It's a system that does not allow you to get all the way to the full fluency in the Greek New Testament. It's not designed for that. The occurrence-based system is designed to get you started in Greek, and it does that really well. But it's not going to get you all the way to full fluency. And this is where Master New Testament Greek is different. Now, this is an advertisement for Master New Testament Greek. I just want to point this out because you need a system that is going to get you all the way to full fluency. Master New Testament Greek is easier, okay? Because what happens is you're going to learn book by book, which means that you're going to start with the easy books and you're going to learn and go all the way to the harder books. This means that you're just going to learn the vocabulary for one book at a time. Now, every time you learn a word, you learn the word once, and that lasts you for that book and all the other books that have that word in it as well. Learn it once, read it everywhere. That's the idea. Secondly, on average, because you're doing this book by book approach, on average, you're going to be mastering a new book of the New Testament every 2 months on average, depending on, of course, how fast you memorize words. We all have different memories, so that's a variable there. But if you're going to learn 30 odd words every week, not everybody can do that, again, but if you do learn 30 words every week, on average, you're going to be learning a new book of the New Testament every 2 months. So that really speeds up the amount of work you're going to do. So you're getting all these wins, right? It's not about how many words you've learned, it's about how many books you can read fluently. And that changes the way you think about your New Testament. You're no longer saying to yourself, well, I'm learning Greek. You're actually able to say to yourself, I can read Greek, and I'm reading the Greek of the New Testament. In fact, you can say, I don't read English anymore in my New Testament, I read Greek. So it changes the way you think about who you are and your relationship to your Greek New Testament. It's not that you're a learner anymore, now you're a reader. That makes a difference. So you need a system, first of all, that is going to get you all the way to fluency of the New Testament. And the occurrence-based system won't do that. The Master New Testament Greek approach will do that. It's designed to get you all the way to fluency. Secondly, once you've got a system that works, the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need the habits. Maybe when you think of learning Greek, you think that success in Greek means making these massive sacrifices and huge steps, taking huge amounts of time. And certainly if you're beginning Greek from the beginning, there's a little bit to learn. However, once you're through beginning Greek, the things you need to do on a daily basis are actually very small. In fact, James Clear, in his really helpful book, Atomic Habits, and I'll leave a link to this below, explains that if you make a 1% improvement every day, you're going to experience a 37 times improvement over the course of 1 year. Now that's huge. 37 times improvement. When it comes to learning Greek, getting the habits in place is going to make a huge difference. It's not about making large amounts of effort in a short amount of time. It's about making tiny little changes on a day-by-day basis. Okay, and there are two key habits that you need to develop in order to take your Greek from where it is based on that good system all the way through to fluency. The first one is vocabulary, and the second one is reading. And this is something that I've sort of talked about before, and I'll leave a link to that up here. Now, to turn these things into habits, there are two key things you really want to do. The first one is that you need to connect these activities to other activities that you already do automatically. Let's take vocabulary, for instance. Vocabulary needs to be done probably 2, 3, maybe 4 times a day, depending on where you're at in your journey. You want to be doing vocabulary review on a daily basis, multiple times a day if possible. So, for instance, you get up in the morning. Let's say you get up and you just have a normal routine. We all have a natural routine when we get up. Whatever that is, pick something in that routine you can tie your vocabulary review to. For instance, when I get up in the morning, I have a glass of water. So while I'm drinking that water, I can take my phone, which is where all my vocabulary is, and then I can start to review vocabulary that has come due overnight. So here's something that I do automatically, having a glass of water, and I'm now tying to that one action a new action that is going to help me to review my vocabulary. This is me taking these little habits that are going to be 1%, little changes over time that are going to allow me to learn to read the New Testament. Another way of doing this is to take something you have to do or something you want to do and doing your vocabulary before you do that. So for instance, maybe I like to have a cup of coffee first thing in the morning. So I really want my cup of coffee because, again, that helps me to wake up and feel good, and coffee just has this kind of natural thing, right? Before I have that cup of coffee though, why not do vocabulary? So rather than say, I'm going to have my cup of coffee and then forget to do my vocabulary, let me make my coffee a reward for doing my vocabulary. And so this way I start to chain that habit of doing vocabulary review to things that I'm already doing on a day-by-day basis, either following them and making it part of what I'm already doing, or preceding them and forcing it to be something that I do prior to something I want to do or have to do. I was talking to a Master New Testament Greek member the other day, and he was saying that he does his vocabulary right after he gets up, before he has a shower and gets ready to go to work. He has to go to work every day, so by making his vocabulary something he does before he has a shower, he's ensuring he gets it done before he goes to work. And so how can you tie your vocabulary, these habits, into things that you are already doing? This is the key thing. You can do the same thing with reading as well. Maybe after you get your cup of coffee in the morning, make your reading of the Greek New Testament something you automatically do. Or maybe, again, your reading is this thing that you do before you get into the shower, before you get ready to go to work. Whatever it is, take those two habits, vocabulary and reading, and make them into something that you do as part of your normal routine. Okay, so that's the first thing. Connect your routine into the habits you need to use that are going to allow you to gain fluency. Second piece of this that you want to do is to make these activities socially normal. It's likely that you live in a place where not many people around you think that learning Greek is worthwhile. And therefore, not many people around you are probably going to be reviewing vocabulary and reading their Greek New Testament on a daily basis. In fact, many Christians don't even read their Bibles on a daily basis, right? And so these things aren't normal for a lot of the people around you. And so those things that aren't normal, you don't get that feeling, that peer pressure that you have to do those things. And so one of the tricks you can do is to gather around you people who do these things. And this is one of the reasons I love Master New Testament Greek. We get a group of people in the membership together, and we all are working, doing the same habits on a day-by-day basis. And so this becomes part of who we are as people who are working to master the Greek New Testament. We're just learning the Greek New Testament, and we're using these two routines to master the New Testament. And so when we gather together, we can talk about, how's your vocabulary going? What are you up to this week? How many new words did you add last week? These are kind of common questions that we can ask and challenge ourselves on, and we know that others in the group are doing exactly the same things. And so gather around you people who are normalizing the activities and the things that you want to do in order to get to the goals you need to get to. So, two things from this video. First of all, you need a system. You need a system that's going to help you to master the text of the New Testament. Secondly, you need habits, and we talked about two, vocabulary and reading, and you need to connect them into things you already do and gather around you a group of people who normalize these activities. So let me ask you this question. Let me leave you with this question. How do you make your growth in biblical Greek a natural part or a normal part of your day? Do you have some trick outside of this that we've not talked about yet? I'd love to hear from you. Leave a note in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, hit the button to subscribe below, and then hit the notify bell to make sure you get notified when new videos come out. And I also want to encourage you, if you're wanting to master the Greek of the New Testament, to go to masterntgreek.com/roadmap and download your roadmap to mastery there. I'm Daryl Burling from Master New Testament Greek. Keep making small, tangible steps, taking these habits that we've just talked about and implement them in your life so that you can get all the way to mastery. And I'll see you in the next video.